Hi, this little video is just designed to give you some idea how to approach assignment 2, trying to do your risk review. So we have a case study, Regional Gardens, right? And this case study will take you through a number of things that talk about this particular company, its staff, its infrastructure, the services and data that it has, the administration of it, its security, its backup and disaster recovery, its network, and its use of workstations. Each of these things is designed to give you some information about the company and about the inherent risks that the company is facing. From that, we've then got to develop a risk register. So this is how I would suggest you proceed. Put yourself together something like this. Now, the tables, I've done this in Word. I've done it in a landscape format. I've put these in. I've put in a few extra things because, I've been in government for a long time and we tend to put a few extra things in. But the things that you really need are, you need the risk description, the consequences, the impact, the inherent risk, the controls, and the residual risk. They are the essentials that you've got to have in there. Okay, so let's go through this and have a look. Date, okay, if you want to put in a date, that's fine. If you don't, I'm not worried about it. Asset, I always include the asset because this tells me where things are. What are we talking about? In this case, I'm talking about infrastructure, which we've identified in the case study, and in particular the servers. And so the risk, I've said, operating system is not patched. So I can see a consequence that operating system vulnerabilities and issues are now not resolved. I would see the impact of that as being high and the inherent risk to the company as high. Now, to control it, we need to patch those servers regularly, and in this case what I've done is I've got that information from the Australian Signals Directorate down here where I've highlighted the Essential 8 explained, right? And what I've used is the IEEE format in order to reference it. And so as you see, it puts we've inserted the citation here, so I just put 1 inside square brackets, and down below I have a reference list. Now, because I'm using EndNote, EndNote allows me to do this automatically, and you can see here I have changed the style from what would have been normally APA 6 to the IEEE ACM transactions, computers, biology, and biographical inf format. And that's the correct format that we use for this, because it gives you a nice consistent approach which doesn't take up heaps and heaps of room in your risk register. I then, having put in a control, I now look at the residual risk. So what's the remaining risk to the company after putting in this control? And so I now see that the remaining risk would be possibly moderate. And I've got a due date on that for it to be completed by a certain date. So that's the process. So what you need to do is think about going through the different risks. And as you see here, I've got another risk for an asset of administration, staff passwords. Now, this is a non-technical risk, right? Because it doesn't actually rely on a piece of technology to do things. Ultimately, it does, but we are now relying on people's memories to do things. So staff passwords may well become a risk. And so we would then go through the same consequences, the impact, the inherent risk to the organisation, the controls you'd put in place, the residual risk, and so forth. So this is the process that you should follow, and it's a fairly straightforward process. What most people get concerned about is the way in which to format it. I would suggest this as a format. I'd do it in Word because it makes it very, very easy, particularly once you start using EndNote, to throw in the citations, and EndNote will automatically build the reference list for you as well. Just so much easier. So have a go at that, and if you've got any problems, let me know, and we'll see how we go about resolving them for you. Talk to you soon.